Okay, lesson 9.2, surface area of prisms and cylinders. Today we're going to be talking about the surface area of prisms and cylinders. So before we get started, we should probably know what is a prism and what is a cylinder. To start us off, what is a prism? A prism is just a three-dimensional figure with two parallel bases. All right, they're parallel bases that are congruent to each other. All right, so looking at these two right here, they're both 3D. They both have parallel bases. If you look over here, this base on top would be parallel to this base on the bottom. They are parallel to each other. And the bases are also congruent. If you look at this one, this also has two bases that are parallel and congruent. But my question to you is, what shape is the base in both of these? Well, this one's pretty clear. The base looks like a square, right? So this would have a square base. This is a prism with a square base. What is the base here? Now I know what you're going to say. I've been doing this for a few years. You're going to say that the base is this guy right here, this rectangle, right? Because it's on the bottom. But that would be incorrect because look, the definition says that it has two parallel bases and the bases are congruent. Do you see anything parallel to that base? Well, no, because it's a triangle. On top you don't see the same thing. So that wouldn't be our base. Oh, kind of tricky there, right? The base would actually be the triangle. You see how this triangle is parallel and congruent to this triangle? So our bases are triangles. So remember, if you're ever wondering where your base is, it's the two that are opposite each other, or parallel to each other, and congruent. Be careful. Okay, what is a cylinder? A cylinder is a solid, okay, a three-dimensional solid with congruent circular bases that are also parallel. All right, so it's just like a prism, but the bases are circles. All right, got it? So what shape is the base? That's right, it's a circle. All right, so we have a cylinder defined and we have a prism defined. Remember, prism, opposite sides that are congruent and parallel, 3D also, and a cylinder, circular 3D figure. All right, we're going to be talking about two things today, lateral area and surface area. All right, what is lateral area? Lateral area is the area, the lateral area is the sum of the areas of the lateral faces. Now, just to put this in simple terms, it just means if you want to find the area of everything on the side of the shape, okay? If I'm just looking for like, what is the area of the side? Like if I were just to unroll this cylinder, it would look like a big rectangle, right? If I were to unroll it. I would just be looking for the area of the sides. That's what the lateral area. And lateral, if you were wondering, means side. So lateral area just means the area of the sides. The surface area is the sum of all the lateral areas and the bases. So that's basically everything. It tells me, so if I wanted to know what all of the areas of the sides are, okay, all of the sides all the way around, and the bases, the top and the bottom. So I have to add the top and the bottom in to get the surface area. All right, so once again, lateral area, just the sides, surface area, the sides, and the bases. So for the following questions, do I want to know the lateral area or the surface area? Well, the first question is the amount of wrapping paper you need to wrap a present for your mom. So if I want to know how much wrapping paper to cover the whole thing I'm wrapping up, what do I need to know? That's right, the surface area, because I'm wrapping something up, I need to know the sides and the top and bottom so I can cover the whole thing up, because if she could see the tops and bottoms, then I didn't really cover it up. The second one is the amount of paper needed to make a label for a soup can. Now, as you know, the label of a soup can only goes around the side. So that would just be a question asking where I need to know the lateral area. Okay? Because I just need to know the area of the sides. That's the difference, surface area and lateral area. All right, so let's get into the formulas. How do I find the lateral area of a prism? The lateral area, okay, and that's LA right there, is just the perimeter times the height. I find the perimeter of the base and I multiply that by the height of the prism. All right, that is how you find the lateral area. So these basic steps should help you find the lateral area of any prism. All right, so let's follow along. So here's our prism. It has the base, height, all these different numbers, but now we want to find the lateral area. So let's follow these 4 steps. Step 1, we're going to draw and label the base. So what is the base here? So I got my base that looks like this. Okay, here's my base. So I'm going to draw this base. It's a rectangle. All right, state the shape, and has a side of 8 and a length of 12. All right, so first step, I draw and label the base. Make sure you draw and label it so you know what shape it is. Step 2, find the perimeter of the base. Now we could do this one of 2 ways. You could use the perimeter formula that you learned yesterday, or you could just keep labeling and solve this. So it's 12, 12, 8, 8. If I add this all together, well, 8 plus 8 plus 12 plus 12. If I add that, I get 40. All right, so my perimeter is equal to 40. Now that I know my perimeter, all right, I'm just going to state the height. The height is just 6. All right, check. We know it's 6 meters. Finally, now that we got our perimeter and I got our height, we can plug into our formula, right? So we got the perimeter of the base and the height. So the perimeter of the base we found out was 40. All right, so we're going to plug that in for P. We found out our height is equal to 6, so we're going to plug that in for H. All right, so we plugged in the perimeter and we plugged in the height. We multiply these together, 40 times 6, and we get our lateral area is equal to 240. Now don't forget there is a unit here, okay? And that is meters. That's what the M stands for. So you always put meters squared. All right? That's how it's done, yo. Let's try it one more time. Now this time we're going to find the surface area. Now if you look at the formula, the surface area is just P times H again. That's just how we found the lateral area, right? So that's our lateral area. But remember, the difference between surface area and lateral area is that for our surface area, we also need to add in the area of the 2 bases. So we add in this, the bases. So to find the surface area, we do the perimeter of the base times the height, just like with the lateral area, plus the area of the 2 bases. All right? And we just plug into this formula. So let's take a look at this example right here. We want to find the surface area of the prism here. All right? Step 1, we're going to draw and label the base. Now if we look over here, which is our base? Remember, it's not this. It is not this. Bad. Because that is not the parallel sides. The parallel sides is this, the triangle. So our base is our triangle right here. All right? See how these 2 are parallel to each other? That's why that's the base. So we're going to draw that. All right, we're going to draw our base and label it. All right, that's 9 and that's 7. All right, we're going to find the perimeter of our base. And to do that, we just look up our formula. So at the perimeter, well, you just add up all the sides. So this is 9, that's 7, and this should say 7. It will say 7 on your paper, and this is also 7. So the perimeter is just going to be 9 plus 7 plus 7. And that gives us, well, let's see, that's 14 plus 9, 23. That is our P. The second part is to find the area. Now, if you might remember your formula, it is 1/2 the base, the bottom, times the height. All right? So we put this in the calculator and we get 31.5. All right. So we got our perimeter of the base. We got the area of the base, all right? And if you're wondering these formulas, where do you get them from? They're from lesson 9.1. Go look them up. And now that we've got these, we just plug into our formula. So the surface area equals the perimeter of the base times the height plus 2 times the area of the base. All right? We found all of these. So the perimeter of the base, that's 23. Our height, well, if this is the base, then 12 has to be our height. Plus 2 times the area of the base, which was 31.5. We found out that the area of the base was 31.5. And now we just plug this into the calculator, and let's do that. So the final surface area, when we did this all together, is 339. Now once again, there is a unit, it's centimeters. So it's just, we find out that this is centimeters squared. And that is how you find the surface area. Now once again, if you're having any trouble, just look at your formula, right? And everything's displayed. To find the surface area, you find the perimeter of the base, you multiply that by the height, plus 2 times the area of the base. That's really it. If you can find out what P, H, and B are, P, H, and B, you're good to go. Okay, now we're going to be finding the lateral area of a cylinder, okay? And guess what? The lateral area has the same exact formula, just the perimeter of the base multiplied by the height, okay? And I think we could do that. We get the point now. So to find the lateral area here, remember that's just the side, the area of the sides. On the side, no bases. First thing we're going to do is draw and label the base. This is just a good habit. So the base, this guy looks like a circle, huh? Well, let's see. It goes a circle all the way around. So yeah, that's a circle, and we see that the radius is 8. Step 2, we're going to find the perimeter of the base. And so what we're going to do is just look up, how do we find the perimeter of a circle? All right, because this is a circle. That's why we looked that up. And it's 2 times pi times the radius. We plug in our radius, so it's 2 times pi times 8. And you know what? What are we going to multiply by now, all right, for pi? What do we use pi? You might remember this from last lesson. What do we use for pi? That's right, we're going to use 3.14. So just to remind you, pi is just equal to 3.14. So in your calculator, you're going to do 2 times 3.14 as an estimate times 8. And that should give you your perimeter. So when we put that in the calculator, what do we get? Well, let's see, I'll do it myself. 2 times 3.14 times 8. We get 50.24. All right, and that's our perimeter. So let's put that in there, 50.24. We're just plugging in our perimeter. Our perimeter, 50.24. The height, it's a little easier, right? It's just this guy right here, 12 inches, so let's plug that in, 12. Well, to find the lateral area, all we have to do is multiply these two numbers together. So we multiply them. So 50.24 times 12, we get 602.88. And that is already to the nearest hundredth because the hundredth is to the second decimal place. Hundredth, second decimal place, beautifully done. All right, so surface area. What's the difference between lateral area and surface area? We need to find the lateral area, that's the area of the side, plus the area of the two bases, right? Because surface area is this lateral area plus the area of the bases, all right, both bases. So we got to find those bases and add them in. So it's the same process again, we're just going to find the areas of the bases now. Easy enough. Step 1, we're going to draw our base, all right? Our base is a circle, all right? And it has this diameter of 12. Okay, just drawing exactly what I see up here. 2, we're going to find the perimeter of the base. All right, and once again, to find the perimeter of a circle, because this is a circle, it's just 2 times pi times the radius. We're going to plug into our formula. Now, if you look over here, do we know what the radius is? It's not 12, right? Because that's the whole diameter. To find the radius, we just need this part right here. So we're going to have to do 12 divided by 2. We just cut it in half and we get 6. So that is our radius. When you have the diameter, you've got to cut it in 2. So it's 12 times, well, pi is 3.14 times 6. Plug this into the calculator. 2 times 3.14 times 6, we get 37.68. Beautiful. So let's plug that in already, okay? So we got 37.68 for our perimeter of our base. And we know our height is 10. Now we have to find the area of the base. So let's do this process again, all right? I'll bring it down here for a little bit. All right, so let's find the area now. The area of a circle, because it's a circle, is pi times r squared. So the area is going to be 3.14 for pi times 6 squared. Let's put that into our calculator. 3.14 times 6 squared is 113.04. All right, that is the area of our base. So we're going to come back up here. That's where we put it in. That's the area of our base, so it's 113.04. Finally, we just multiply this all together. We just put this exactly as we see it in our calculator, okay? Okay, let's put it into our calculator. So it's, oh my God, I just lost it. Okay, so it is 37.68 times 10 plus 2 times 113.04, enter, and I get 602.88. So 602.88. What is that bad number doing? 602.88. Wow, that's the same answer as last time. That's blowing my mind, but it is. So, we've done it. I don't know why it worked out the same both times. We had different numbers, but it did, and that's pretty cool. So, guys, don't ever punch yourself in the face because it hurts bad.